can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
I take care of many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
That kind of nonsense, where somebody is in front of the camera on Capitol Hill or the combination of both, and they can't acknowledge something that simple, you've already lost. Because Trump and the right are going to sit up there and say, is that what you want our country to become? Is that what you want our country to stand on?
So you see how this started, ladies and gentlemen. Even many on the radical left, like Joe Scarborough, for example, from MS Now, which used to be MSDNC, MSNBC, even this guy says that this is just banana. This is bonkers and foolishness, and this is how you lose elections. People see this and they're like, wow, these are crazy people. We shouldn't have these people claiming that they're doctors. You mean we got to go to people like this for treatment? That's just utterly ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead and react to what he has to say about this. And then I'm going to get into Stephen A. Smith because he really went off. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
Those issues right up front so you can then talk about the things that matter to all Americans. Like, for instance, 85% of Americans, I've been saying this for 10 years now, 85% of Americans don't think that men who transition after puberty should be able to compete against women. That's easy. Don't get wrapped up on that. That's easy, right? Don't be afraid to say that.
Look how quiet they are. They ain't got nothing to say about this because they know that their constituents is a bunch of woke morons. So they're going to be, I'm surprised if they weren't already on Joe's freaking butt cheeks for this, but let's keep going.
Because if you're afraid to say that, you're going to keep losing elections. It's that simple. And I swear, I don't know how Josh Hawley finds the people he finds to question. And Claire, if you disagree with me, let me know. But when Josh Hawley asks you, or when somebody asks a Democrat, can men have babies? And you refuse to answer that for 30 minutes. That might be a clue why they think some progressives are disconnected with America. Let me give you the answer to that. It's the key. It's upside down, bottom of the crossword puzzle. The correct answer is no. Men can't have babies. And men who transition after puberty should not be able to compete against girls in sports. This is easy. Get that out of the way. If that's not easy for you, don't run because you're going to lose.
Cooked. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Scarborough with a rare moment of non-insanity, actually making some sense for once in his life, because this has got to be like a 5% issue. Like 95.5. It's got to be like 99.1 even, because it doesn't make any sense. Everybody knows this is a bunch of nonsense, and yet these woke morons get the fact that they're able to even get away with it and get any votes when supporting nonsense like this. That really speaks volumes to how good the propaganda is to really make them feel like the other side is just so vile and so evil and so racist and such a phobic and all of this other stupid nonsense that they say, that they can actually get people to overlook transing of kids, men and women's sports, open borders. Like you can get them to overlook anything, apparently. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look also at Stephen A. Smith, because he went off about this as well. Everybody knows this is a bunch of nonsense.
You got to see this to believe it. This, reading from USA Today, a Senate committee hearing about abortion medication has gone viral after Republican U.S. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri and Ashley Moody of Florida asked an obstetrician gynecologist if men can get pregnant. Republican Senator Josh Hawley grilled Dr. Nisha Verma, an OBGYN, who refused to answer that very question. Can men get pregnant? Repeatedly, and I mean repeatedly. Verma said she found Hawley's close-ended questions to be politically polarizing and danced around. I mean, the way she danced around these questions, ladies and gentlemen, you got to see it to believe it. Later in the day, after this video I'm going to show you, Hawley had posted the video on the social media site X depicting his full exchange with Verma with the caption, spoiler alert, men cannot get pregnant. I'm not going to say anything else until you watch the video. See it for yourself. Take a look.
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get
I take care
pregnant?
of many women that can get
Look,
pregnant.
y'all see the chick in the background? This chick right here. Can y'all see my mouse cursor? Yeah, you can. This chick right here, man, she look like she laughing her ass off. look at her. Look at her
Can
face.
men
I
get
take care
pregnant?
of many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a
totally
doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes, no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity.
10 times. Ladies and gentlemen, the clip was 5 minutes long. I only played 2. 10 times. He asked her, can men get pregnant? Can men get pregnant? And she wouldn't answer. She wouldn't answer. Answer the question. Quite frankly, I'm trying to check your veracity on this matter. You're here talking science. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no? You cannot have that. As a Democratic Party, you cannot be associated with that. I'm talking about an unwillingness and an inability to answer the question. If you think men can get pregnant and you think you have scientific data to back that up, say so. If you don't have the scientific data to back it up, and you're purported to be a scientist, Dr. Nisha Verma, and the question is asked and you don't have proof to validate that men get pregnant, can men get pregnant, then the answer would be no. She refused to answer the question. That cannot happen. Why am I bringing that up? Because, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that's what will lose you an election. See, the GOP already got it plotted. They're going to air that all over the place.
Yep.
Senator Josh Hawley is going to be on Fox News and other platforms, Newsmax and everything else. They're going to play that. 77 million people voted for Donald Trump. 74 plus million for Kamala Harris. There's tens of millions of people out there. They're going to see that video. They're going to show it to them over and over. And they're going to say, that's the Dems. You have to immediately disassociate yourself from that rhetoric. I'm only talking about the rhetoric. I'm not talking about her as a person. I'm not talking about liberals who support transgender rights or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an unwillingness to answer direct questions. 10 times in 2 minutes, he asked her, can men get pregnant? We're a Christian nation, aren't we? In the Bible, it talks about men and women, don't it? Where does it say a man can get pregnant? scientifically. Where does it?
I was about to say, oh, okay, he got the. I was about to say, even if you just say scientifically, I mean, it don't matter. Like, it's men or women, it don't matter what you believe or think. It is what it is. That's the core issue, is these people think that if you have some sort of different set of beliefs that it can change what it means to be a man or a woman. There's nothing that's going to change that, period.
Say a man can get pregnant. For you not to be able or to be unwilling to answer that kind of question shows how evasive and unethical one is when it comes to simply blurting out the truth of an obvious question. That's the kind of stuff that we have to make sure that we address. Because if you are the Democrats, you got to do everything that you can to disassociate yourself from this video right here. There is no excuse nor any explanation. You can have issues with the economy. You can have issues with the border. You can have issues with safety in the streets. You can have issues with, education reform, welfare reform. The list goes on and on. I'm telling you right now, if you embrace that kind of nonsense, where somebody is in front of the camera or on Capitol Hill or the combination of both, and they can't acknowledge something that simple, you've already lost. Because Trump and the right are going to sit up there and say, is that what you want our country to become? Is that what you want our country to stand on?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Of course, the Dems have already lost. Now we'll have to see what the actual midterms look like. So far, it appears as though the radical left is still putting a bunch of woke morons up at the top of the ticket across pretty much the entire country. But maybe by the time 2028 rolls around, some other people, some maybe fresh blood that actually makes sense and know what the hell they're talking about, some actual moderate leaning type of, left leaning moderates or something will get boosted up. But as where we currently stand today, the progressives have basically taken over. Okay, like the freaking inmates have taken over the asylum. Basically, it's gotten too bonkers, too outrageous, and I guarantee you that the majority of people are not going to come out and denounce this person. This happened a couple of days ago. I haven't seen any Democrats. What I've seen them do is just kind of ignore it. So of course the fake news hasn't pressed them on it. But if pressed, they'll probably dodge the question too, because what they'll do is they'll support the trans community behind the scenes with legislation like Kamala Harris did. But then when they're asked direct questions, they'll just evade the question because they know that it's unpopular to give the answer and tell the truth. Like, hey, you supported this legislation. They're just like, huh? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? What are you talking about? That's what they're going to do. They're not going to say yay or nay. They're just going to flounder like morons, just like this Verna lady did. But guys, let me know what you think. Can men get pregnant? Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out. Big shout out to my members, Cyber Noodle, 655, Bella Scott, and Carpentier John. Could not do it without you.
When they punt like that and go, I don't know. I mean, are you talking about like a manly woman? Because, I mean, I guess, yeah, but you're kind of hurting my feelings right now. I thought that the Senate was a safe space. Maybe not.
So, yeah, when you whiff like that, you make your side seem absurd. Just answer the question.